Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Patience is a Virtue seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which at the start of every turn, all of the cards in our hands get transformed into random cards. That makes it very difficult to make a deck in this event, but we're bringing back a classic that has gotten much stronger, so let's go give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Scoia'tael Saskia Commander deck, because Saskia Commander is one of the best ways to get value from our deck without having to worry about the cards in our hand changing every turn. However, this time round, we are using Call of Harmony because a sneaky little buff that Harmony got a little while back was that now any non-neutral faction can proc Harmony. Previously, it was only Scoia'tael units, but in this event, we'll get random units from Northern Realms, Monsters, Nilfgaard, Skellige, Syndicate, and any of those cards can proc Harmony. So that means much easier to proc Harmony on Denna and any other Harmony card than it was before. So for that reason, Denna gives us really solid value in this event. So basically, we have our leader ability as a win condition for one round, and then for the other round, we're going to use Curse Scroll or whatever other tutor we can get to get Saskia Commander out, because we have lots of stuff that she can summon out from our deck. Other than that, we do have some traps in case you have other trap synergies, but for the most part, it's just simply playing whatever the best card you happen to get from your hand. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Scoia'tael here, and we'll go first. Okay, and we don't have any cards in our hand that we absolutely must keep in our deck, although if we're being picky, the Brokilon Sentinels would be kind of nice to put back. So I think we'll try that, and this is theoretically a little bit better. So we'll stick with this. There's a non-zero chance, however unlikely it may be, that we can get the Sentinels summoned out later. Okay, as for what we do turn one. Skellige is the best points land, but he is vulnerable. Sure, this is absolutely going to get answered. Okay, Sorceress, which I'm sure they are hoping they can use to damage skill, which is pretty likely a possibility for them. So now we'd like to go Curse Scroll to get Saskia Commander, and this Pitfall Trap is actually not terrible, and would have kind of liked to have had the opportunity to play that, but we'll put it back into our deck. Not a great card to get out, as there's a non-zero chance we could have thinned that out as well, but take what we can get. Roach. Okay, now our melee row is also going to get completely flooded, because we absolutely want to play Damien. Unfortunately for them, they got Ellerin out, which very clearly was something that they were planning to summon out. In fact, she would have gotten summoned out on this very turn, potentially. Okay, fortunately, they are not immediately damaging skill. Let's just see if there are any amazing alternatives. Otherwise, and, you know, Keldar can be really good, especially in round 3 when you're more likely to be in that Adrenaline 4 territory for a while, but that might not happen at all in round 1. So, yeah, it's definitely Damien. And this melee row is getting crowded enough that it may start to limit the value that we get from Saskia. Vandegrift. We do have Doo-Doo. And because Vandegrift's resilience is not from a deploy ability, he just starts with it, we will get that when we use Doo-Doo. So that's not bad. We should use our leader ability here, because they did not answer Damien. Obviously, we're going to go range row, so we don't clog our melee row any more than we already have. Gascon's not terrible, especially with the bandit reworks as of late, but I think we do this. So yes, we do the shield and we do the resilience. So now, not only do we have the extra value in this round, just had to go melee row, didn't you? We also have the carryover to match them. Sayer Quan, can we take you out? If we had Zeal, we could, but we don't. We could use our leader ability again and use Anna Henrietta to steal theirs, which is not amazingly valuable. In fact, we'd probably like our leader ability more than their leader ability, and since we've already used Saskia Commander, we'd like to save this Call of Harmony for round 3 as our main win condition. So I think that Sayer Quan is probably just going to have to stay. And we'll go full geared, I guess. just for pure pointage. Okay, Gregory is very good. They don't have that many units, but he's still a 13, and there is the big boost on Saerquan as well, so this is a lot closer than it may have initially seemed. Gesros is amazing, although we would have very much preferred to have had a bunch of cards in our range row if possible. We do use Saskia melee row because there is at least 1 or 2 cards that need to be in the melee row, and Damien, we had no choice. They played this. We have no control over where you went or where Roach went, so it kind of stinks, but I guess it is better to prioritize this. And timing-wise, Saskia's going to check before Gesros moves, right? So Gesros is now going to brick Saskia here. Speaking of Saskia, we can get the other Saskia, but Villain Trettenmirth at this point would destroy... Just make sure that we don't have anything higher up. You're not going to get boosted by Gesros for what it's worth. That reduces his value a little bit more. But Villain Trettenmirth destroys you, which is very useful. So I think this is going to check before you move. Yeah, so at least for this turn, Saskia is going to brick. And again, unfortunate, but we have such a crowded melee row now that it's not easy for us to avoid that. Yaga, they have to have Zeal on this, right? What can they... They're going to consume either Oakcritters. It might have to be Oakcritters. Yeah. I mean, it does give us room in the melee row, which was something we were just saying we could use. Still very close here. Royce is really good. So I think that is definitely worth playing here. And... yeah, okay. It's not as if we're going to have the highest card after doing this. Do you have a 4? Okay, yeah, you do. Oh, speaking of Saskia Commander. And, oh, Nero as well, wow. Okay, it's Erland. Fortunately, they are not a Northern Realms deck, so they definitely don't have an Erland in their starting deck, nor do they have Pince Maneuver to get it out when they need it most in round 3. That's still pretty valuable as a point slam, though. Let's see, with Oniro, is there anything obvious that we would like to get? Could get an Eibhear, which may be helpful. Actually, what I'm curious of here is there anything else that Saskia can even get from our deck? We don't have a machine, so we could still get a Dwarven Chariot. We have a Witcher because we have Gesros. So I think it's basically just... oh, no, we definitely have a human. So I don't actually think this gives us that much incremental value. So it is going to be this. And then it might even be Crushing Trap, to be honest with you. That's pretty valuable right now. Then we should do this to boost our lowest card, which is either of you guys. Which is just about an even match there. This Yaga is going to be a problem. Fortunately, there isn't that much time left for it to do its thing, but they're stuck at 4 provisions now. I think we pass. This is going to go off. Gesros will still be going. So I think it will be tricky for them to catch us. Also, oh, we did not have a Dryad, really. Alright, so in that case, we will win on even. We draw into both of our Brokilon Sentinels and that Echo to Nero, which we probably would like to keep in deck. Also, how did we get this? I don't remember. But we'll dump you, and now we've basically played all the cards that we really wanted to save. Besides maybe Eibhear, so we probably wouldn't like to draw into him. Was 100% expecting for me to have just jinxed that. So we're on even cards here. We both have 6 points of carryover. We could try to push here, and basically our tiebreaker is Call of Harmony versus Deadeye Ambush in a short round. Their leader really might actually be better still than ours. And our cards here, they could use a little more time to increase the provisions and get developed, so I think we still pass. That means they'll have to go a card down, so we'll have card advantage and double last say in round 3. They'll go Ifrit. It's fine, anything would have done the trick. including that, of course, so they'll win round 2. Alright, and we do draw into Eibhear. He is, for what it's worth, I believe our highest provision cost card we have left, so if we're looking for something to play at the beginning of the round, he is not bad. I mean, he's going to transform into something that's 10 provisions, although at this point, you're going to turn into a 9 provision, you're going to turn to 8 provision. Now, we've had some time. Another 8 provision, another 8 provision. We've had some time to develop other cards, so I think we can still make this work. And we actually kind of like having a few low provision cost cards in a long round, because by the time we get around to playing them, they should be a much better provision cost. Okay, Eltibald is pretty good. They don't have anything to target him or use him on just yet. So we could Yenvo him, and then they just don't get any value at all from him. Which is pretty tempting. Nothing else could answer him immediately unless Walter Veritas. I don't think there's anything he could give us that would immediately do the trick. So I think we're probably just Yenvoing. It was, I believe, our highest provision card, so don't love to play that, although the toughest thing for us in this round was going to be the very beginning, because, as we were saying, we had a lot of low provision cost cards to start off with. Okay, now, Ethne, if they have a bunch of nature cards, would be good, although that's pretty unlikely. Vivaldi Bank is an interesting idea. We actually know that Eltibald is the top card, because Yenvo specifically puts a card at the top, so I think we use Vivaldi Bank to get Eltibald and use it against them. Before we do that, we should, I mean, he's neutral, so technically it's not going to work with our leader ability, but it's either that or it's Olgierd, who's also not bad. Urchin, borderline if he's going to have enough time to be useful. He should still be decent. Even Synthesis actually works pretty well with our leader ability. Let's do this, though. Let's do this. Mark you, and then we'll get leader ability as well. Get some extra damage. So now any non-neutral that is not a human will boost our harmony stuffs. So Seret, for example, would work. Glace, don't have a way to boost her. We actually do, I assume, have an artifact. And Pitfall Trap, in this event, our opponent does not have much control over the provision cost card that they play, because they only have 3 options here, and that might be worth using. They might be stuck with a bunch of high provision cost cards. Normally it would be great, but maybe not on this occasion. And if they anticipate this will be a Pitfall Trap, then they might deliberately try to play something small, and then that might mess up their plans long term. Oh, Nero, that would destroy their highest card if we used a different card. But, well, actually, that was possibly the worst card they could play, because that costs a lot of provisions, as you can see. They'll lock. We can actually reset, and may even choose to do that on Eltibald, because our other options here are not great. Otherwise, it's probably Salamander Hideout. And we just go, I don't even know, Failed Experiment just for the 6-point body? Maybe? Or actually, well, now we don't have the coin for the tribute here. So yeah, it would probably be the Failed Experiment. Guess we don't have a lot of time to benefit from Eltibald's order, so this might still be preferable. I think it probably is. It is, I think, possibly our lowest provision card here that we had. That counts as a human? Darn. Not gonna support Denna. Yeah, so now we have higher provision cards, including War Elephant, which is a decent point slam. Defender with Cave Troll, which I'm not really sure we need, but could use it. And obviously, Heat Wave could destroy War Council or whatever they get out with it. They don't have anything too big right now, though, so not really thinking that's worth doing. I mean, well, now you're an 8. But this is at least an 8, and played next to you is more than that. And they realize they can't catch us anymore, and so they forfeit. Alright, so going up against Skellige here, and they'll go first. Okay, and so we definitely want to put Saskia back into our deck. She's the most important card to keep there. Then Roach and Eibhear are both cards we would like to keep there. Roach, for obvious reasons, guaranteed points in round 1, whereas Eibhear can potentially be a target for tutors and or Tellian in. However, when we're on red coin, so we don't have the guaranteed tutor from our stratagem, we're definitely going to use any tutors to get Saskia out here, so I think we can live with losing Eibhear, and we prefer the guaranteed points from Roach. Okay, it's a trap. Turn 1, which is a little hard to read. There's a chance then Driga would survive it, in which case we could play you as a sacrificial lamb, low provision cost card, and just allow our other stuff to have a turn to develop. Otherwise, Land of a Thousand Fables, I mean, if it's going to deal damage based on the provision cost first card we play, we don't immediately have any cards that it can go after. But then what are we playing from our deck? It would be, did we lose all of our specials in our starting hand? No, we still have backup plan. We could do that. Obviously, the damage to the last unit they played will not do anything, but we will play an elf. So nothing is ideal. I guess we'll do this. Okay, fair enough. It will survive on 1 power, which is probably still just about best case scenario. Okay, Ioana for healing. And my eyes lit up here because we have 3 of the best Nilfgaard cards. Damien to reset our leader ability, which could be really helpful. Glynis, Assimilate 2. That's going to proc at least once, basically every turn. And more Assimilate and maybe some value from the poison from the Cupbearer. Problem is that all of these cards are going to be at 6 or less power, which means if they want to, they can use both leader ability charges to take them out, and I would have to imagine they would immediately do so upon seeing them. But maybe we just have to force them into doing that. Part of me was tempted to go Glynis and go leader ability to get her boosted up, but I think we might need to be a little more protective of that leader ability. And they'll use their stratagem, which may give them a different way to answer our Damien. It will. He is obviously row locked, and so they'll move him. So now maybe we go Apiarian Phantom. Speaking of row locked, so that is an engine. It still has some time to do its thing. And although they have answered a lot of our stuff here, they have not put up many points on their side. Alright, it's Villain Trettenmirth, which, as of right now, would either destroy the Apiarian Phantom or Ioana, depending on if we use this Apiarian Phantom ability, which is pretty tempting to do. I was going to use Covenant of Steel to protect Apiarian Phantom, but now this is more of a threat. Todrick would be the other good card to play here, although that also is not a great idea, because, well, I mean, basically, yeah, you know what? It's unavoidable. Villain Trettenmirth is going to destroy something. So, because either it's play a 0 card, like Whispering Hillock or Golden Necker, which does not work with our deck. Play something else that will definitely get destroyed. Don't have any agents, so it's not as if the deploy ability is going to factor in for any of these guys either. Alright, we'll do this. Just to get you in the graveyard, basically. Does also prevent them from playing anything bigger than a 7, which may or may not be a factor. Okay, Crimson Curse. Not a bad option. We'll lose this, as anticipated. And we could now Caretaker as a way to purify a lot of the bleed that we're going to acquire here. Don't really want to Ragnarok, even though this would perhaps be the best from a pure pointage standpoint, because Ioana will love us for doing that. So I think we do this. Okay, Dandelion Poet. Get another card out here. It's the Longship. We'll destroy 1 card. Oh, that's actually a fantastic combo. Could go in rage. I mean, we've multiple 10-point plays here. This is 10 points. This is 10 points. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 4, 11, although this does enable Ioana, so functionally also 10. So I think we actually take out Joanna here. She's been surprisingly annoying to get rid of. Actually, Aerodin long-term would probably be best, but that would hit you, and then Joanna heals. So, you're getting the picture here. Joanna is causing us some trouble. So let's get rid of her. Okay, renew, probably to get Joanna back. Wow. Okay. Fair enough. You really like Joanna. Going leader ability here as well. Oh, they needed to catch us. Okay, so we can Caretaker Purify here. We cannot Scorch because we have the highest unit. I'm thinking we're going Dandelion Poet and then probably into a Sienna, and we don't know what we're going to get to combine with Sienna, but we're just going to rely on something. So let's do this. Let's do this. I guess there's a chance if we were to draw into Saskia Commander, we would have to play her, and we don't. I was so expecting to jinx that. So now let's do this. Okay, they'll go Triss, which we do a lot of stuff here, so that will be pretty... Oh, they're going to boost themselves. Okay, that is probably still better. And that's going to give them a lot of value. Okay. But now we could go Sienna plus Oberon, which is a little risky because we don't have Devotion, so if we happen to get that guy who destroys himself if we don't have Devotion, then that's not great. We do get to do it twice, though. Whereas the War Elephant, a little bit safer, but does not combine with Sienna. So, depends, do we go Sienna combos now, or do we rely on that happening later? So you're a 12, you're also a 12. Well, there's no tiebreaker there. Alright, we'll try it. We'll try it. What do we get? It is exactly the card that I was describing. Well, I jinxed that. And had to put him here to get any value on the Frost, unfortunately. Didn't want to put him in the Blood Moon row, but had no other choice. Alright, so they'll pass. We're gonna get hit by the Bleeds, which means we basically do need to play here. However, that should still be feasible. I mean, I guess if we had done Apiarian Phantom, we might not have needed to, which perhaps I should have anticipated. But we can go Caretaker, Purify this. Percival should be sufficient, especially if we do this, which shouldn't matter who we hit. Okay. And there we go. We will win round one. Go a card down to do it, but that shouldn't be an issue. Because now we still have both our leader ability and also... I believe we still have Saskia Commander in Dex. If we can find a way to shoot her out, that'd be great. Probably not looking to play here in this round because we did go a card down, and we have a bunch of low provision cost cards here. 4, 4, 4, and this is a 6, which is slightly better, but no good way to start this round. So I think what we do is we just settle for what we have in hand, dry pass, and that gives ourselves a little bit of time to develop these cards further so that we have some good things to start off with in round 3. They'll go Arch Griffin, which... I don't think they'll have a way to boost it, so shouldn't have to worry about the carryover there. Alright, and we draw into Lake Guardian, which at 8 provisions does give us another card that is somewhat high provision, so we shouldn't be stuck with a bunch of bad stuff at the very beginning of the round. It is kind of a card we like to keep in our deck in case it gains value, but at just 5 power, it's probably not big enough to be too worried about that, so I think we just settle for what this is. That we have here, and having a 4 and a 5 is not bad, having at least a couple of those in a somewhat long round, so that if it does go longer, we still have some stuff that's in decent territory and don't eventually just have stuff that gets bricked at the very end of the round. Okay, it's Coral, who does not have anyone to hit with the damage, so they don't use the order. And the Mage's Torturer, despite being the lowest provision cost card here, is arguably the best one that we have in hand at the moment. So it's kind of tempting to play this. The downside of that is it becomes very risky. You're going to turn to a 9. You're going to turn to 11. That becomes a little bit scary. Because if that is not a good 11 provision card, 10 here, then some of those high provision cards can get high enough that they run the risk of being bricks. So, I mean, first of all, let's lead your ability. I guess we'll still do this. But it is living a little bit dangerously when we have other high provision cost cards. If everything was low provision and we were trying to quote-unquote develop everything, then that'd be fine. We'd want to get value from the low provision cost cards, but now we really are needing to play stuff like Casimir, which, I mean, at least he's 6 base power, but is otherwise not very good. Okay, there's leader ability, getting rid of that assimilate engine that we were just talking about. So oh right, Coral happened to hit her, and then combine that with leader ability was enough to take it out. So didn't really anticipate that. I guess we could have gone the Mage Torturer first and then Denna, and that would have made the Mage Torturer slightly bigger, and it actually would have survived on 1 power. We could have anticipated that, but we could actually use Shawnee here. She's 10 provisions, not the highest provision card you are. So it's a little scary, but I think we do this and bring back that very same card. Okay, oh, Nero. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Defender. To combine with Sucrus. So if we had any hopes of dealing damage, those we can pretty much write off at this point. Fortunately, at the moment, we're much more set up for boosting with the Harmony and the Assimilate, and we do not yet control a beast, so Dire Mutated Hound, it's a little bit on the late side for it, but it is potentially still a strong engine, and it will proc all of our other boosting as well. You're our highest provision cost card, so we do... I think we probably still need to play you, to be honest. Probably do still need to play you, otherwise we are going to run the risk of you bricking, and you are very likely to brick at that. Okay, we can still get this back, even if we put it out... Well, I guess we can still do this. Okay, it's Morin, which is lock. We're gonna go after Johnny. That was oh, I guess they can't lock you, and they for some reason didn't think we were gonna get much value out of Denna. But as we've already demonstrated, Harmony now works with new cards from any faction, as long as it's not neutral. So we already have a human, so neither Saris nor Timboy are gonna be all that effective here. Timboy, great when they have a big row, and they do have a lot of stuff here, but with Sucrus with 1 armor and Covenant of Steel defended by Sucrus, not really going to do much for us. I think it's going to be Water Brokilon here. It's one of our higher provision cost cards, and it is more Harmony. Not a lot of time to benefit from that Harmony, but if we happen to get something new, like a Beast, then that could be very useful. Okay, it's Usurper Officer, which we've played one and might consider playing another very soon. Oh, how I wish we had Zeal on this and could just destroy their operative. I would love that. So, you're 9 points. You're 8 in all likelihood. However, you proc 3 harmonies, and we already have a human, so you do not proc any harmony. So I think we do play War Elephant here, and we threaten at least to remove that. And, of course, they immediately bring it back in that case. Crimson Curse, we have a ton of stuff here, of course, but it is pretty late to be doing that. Now we could Regis, and I think we probably will, because you're 13, you're 11. So we don't play you, you're very likely to turn into a scenario. Except you really don't work. I'm assuming if Covenant of Steel is defended by Sucrus that this might not get boosted at all. Obviously, we're not going to deal damage. So I think you're quite literally just a 1. Except that we don't have a vampire. So you'll boost 3 harmonies, and we do have a human. And we don't really care about deck flipping. So tell you what, this is worth 4 points, this is worth 3, this is still better. And what we can do is play you here. I don't think this is going to work at all. But now you're an easy target for War Elephant, because it's overkill damage, so it is on net still beneficial to do that. Granted, we have a really big unit over here, so if they Brayhan as their finisher, that's going to be kind of painful. But Yennefer Illusionist shouldn't be enough. So we don't even need to take this last turn. We should double check, because we have the Blood Moon, which is deceptively powerful. But I think we have enough of a margin here. But we will still take the win. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here. And we'll go first. Okay, so our plan is in round 1 to use Curse Scroll to give us Saskia Commander, and then Leader ability in round 2/3 is our win condition there. We'd kind of like to keep Lake Guardian in our deck if possible, and then maybe save you if we can. And then we should leave it at this, because we definitely don't want to use our last mulligan, so we run the risk at that point of getting a Saskia Commander, and that would be very bad. Did lose a Brokilon Sentinel there, but that's pretty darn unlikely that you'll ever get that summoned out from your deck, so it's not a huge deal. Eskel Pathfinder's not a terrible turn 1 play. He's quite solid. Stalker, I'm not sure we're going to have that organics to make that work. And Therian is very intriguing. That actually could be as many as 2 points per turn compared to the 1 point per turn from Eskel Pathfinder. So I think we'll actually do this. They'll go Sarah, which they may or may not be able to get much value out of. Now, this is the turn where we're going to use Curse Scroll and swap out one of the cards in our hand for Saskia Commander. And is there anything we'd like to save back in our deck? Something that we might be able to tutor later. Letho could potentially give us great value. Nausicaa Sergeant is also potentially a big point slam. I think, actually, Insectoid, we don't have any Insectoids in our starting deck, and that means it is possible for Saskia to summon them out. And not that it... Oh, and let's do that. So you're probably going to get flipped. It is a Thrive unit, so it does give us some value if it gets onto the board. It's not amazing when we don't get the deploy ability to get a second copy of it, but we'll see. Okay, Axel 3 Eyes is pretty solid, because they'll get the Rhizome. He's now a 7, which means he is the strongest unit. So we could Scorch him. Alternatively, we go Teruviel, which will proc both our harmonies, which is not bad. And then probably go, yeah, Range Row, which is nice for row space purposes as well. I think that is definitely better. There's the Harmony procs. Right, Yenvo. I already forget what that card... It was Roach, who had been infused with Harmony, right? Was pretty decent, so that's unfortunate. Now, speaking of Harmony, I was actually a little intrigued by Oriana, because as of the patch a little while ago that made it so that Harmony now activates for any non-neutral unit, we would have gotten the Vampire proc on this, which is pretty hard to do under normal circumstances, so that was intriguing. But Yorvet's Gambit, our deck is designed for that. I think we had a lot of our traps in our starting hand, but we do at least have 2 remaining. And they have a very wide row here. So yes, I think this is definitely worth giving it a shot. And these are among, if not... this is definitely one of our best traps, assuming they're going to play something big here. And as we were saying, this also works well when they have a wide row, so that works quite well. Okay, Vivaldi Bank. If we had a different trap, that would have destroyed a card of theirs. Okay. But it's a reasonably high provision cost card, so decent damage there, and then this is going to hit their melee row. Which now has, what, 1 fewer unit in it, unfortunately, maybe 2. Okay, and now... we do still have a Beast, so it's not like this is going to proc Harmony. Don't have any guys in our graveyard to target there. Do already have an Elf, so no Harmony here, although this could potentially give us value in the future if we get a bunch more specials, which at this point in the round, unlikely. Probably looking at Gabor here, and we do not yet have a Dwarf, so that will proc our Harmony. And obviously the Resilience as well is the primary reason for it. There's the damage from our other trap. Alright, they're going to go Shaping Nature. Depending on where they put that. They hid it behind their defender, so can't use our Tall Removal here with Geralt. This is a really good hand that we have right now, but Geralt doesn't work. Point Slam point slam plus engines, or potential card advantage, I think we might be looking at Brokilon Sentinel here, because I don't think Siri Dash is going to have enough time to activate. Or at least it's pretty darn unlikely that that would happen. Oh, we actually do have Symbiosis, which I totally forgot about as well. Not that it's a huge factor when we have only one. Best Boy was not out from our deck yet. Wow. Okay, Rafford's Vengeance. Very powerful, yes, but pretty late on in the round to make that happen. I totally forgot about their leader ability. Also, Rookie Mistake. That's a deploy ability that gives Gabor his resilience, so you do not get it when you use your stratagem, when you use your leader ability rather on him, and we still have it here. So, also, oddly enough, we do not have a human yet on the board, and Gerhardt is not a neutral card, so he actually will proc what is now a whole bunch of harmonies. So that's definitely worth doing here, I would think. And may very well still choose to use his order ability immediately. Is there any creative teleportation uses here? I mean, for harmony purposes, yeah. Actually, it's not terrible to go with that. In fact, I think that actually is better. Would prefer to have room in the range row, but go on their defender. The harmony procs, the bleed. I guess it's a little bit slower, but might still be more valuable, and this is pretty sweet too. Okay, excommunication. They will use to get a mage assassin, which is nowhere near good enough. They're trying to get rid of our resilience, so really we should pass here, because it's unlikely that they can catch us in one turn, and if they don't, then they're going to have to go multiple cards down. Even if they just pass right now, we have 3 points of carryover to their no points of carryover, so that means that we could dry pass in the next round, force them to go a card down in round 3. However, this She Who Knows is so tempting. Is so tempting to play. I will resist it. Because it's technically the wrong thing to do. Svalblood. We have a lot of units. That might be enough for them to catch us in one turn. It is. But we do still have the resilience here. Saskia almost bailed us out as well. Okay, so we do have 2 points of carryover, which means if they dry pass, we don't need to play anything. We'll have card advantage even going into round 3. On the other hand, they could still try to push us. A 2-point advantage is not a huge deal, but we have an extra card on them. That's a bigger deal. Nowadays, however, everyone always pushes in round 2 because Gwent has become a 2-round game. So we should be prepared for that. And we have a bunch of 4 provision cost cards, which I don't like. This is going to turn into a 4 provision cost card immediately at the start of the next round. You were gaining some value in our deck, and I would kind of like to keep it that way. However, you are one of our only cards that is potentially going to be playable turn 1. Because everything else, just about, is going to be weak. And I am expecting them to try to bleed us. Alright, they will play at least one card here. Grimace does have more points than us. So we would like to outpace them. Would have preferred to have gone Griffin Witcher here, because it's a decent engine, which in a medium-length round, potentially, could still be useful. Whereas Mullane gives us the tempo that we really need here. Yeah, I think that's just about required. That might be the only thing that we can do to give us the necessary tempo. Unless we went leader ability as well, but I'd like to try to save that, because they are leader ability lists, so assuming this does go to round 3, this could be a critical advantage that we have over them. Okay, Francis, Bedlam. The hand buff doesn't make much of a difference because your hand is changing every turn. And this we could use on you to create what would that end up being? Wait, it's based on the power, not the provision cost of the unit destroyed. Basically would be a Roderick, which is not great. We could lock you. Not really concerned about that right now. Potentially a little bit of carryover from Ronvid, and it's actually not terrible tempo. This is definitely the best in terms of immediate term pointage, though, although, granted, would have had to have flipped it manually in order to, tempo-wise, make this make sense. However, they are playing. This is going to get absolutely decimated by the Pitfall Trap, because they do not have dominance. So that is about as well as that could have gone for us. And now this gives us an Assimilate engine. They realized that was just a terrible trap that they fell for. They were unsuccessful with the bleed, and so they forfeit. So there's a look at a Scoia'tael Harmony deck for the new Patience is a Virtue seasonal event. If you like the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions we should experiment with next. And take a look at our Patience is a Virtue playlist to see previous decks that we've used in this event as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.